What's going on, guys? My name is Eldeniro and welcome to another episode of my Leicester City career mode. We're starting this episode off with a brief look at the league table, which has us in 6th place, a potential European qualifier place too, I believe, in the Europa League. And if we could hold on to this type of position for the entire season, I would be absolutely delighted, but I don't think it's going to happen at all. I reckon we'll finish around 8th or 9th, maybe even a little bit lower than that, because our form has been really good, we're playing really well, but the calibre of team we're playing against isn't as high as, say, if we were playing against teams who we have yet to play, like Tottenham and Liverpool. And although we did do the double over Liverpool last season, we'll see how that works this season. Actually, I don't want to lose my unbeaten record against them. But we're starting this episode off with a game against Ipswich in the Capital One Cup last 16, which is, these fixtures are so boring. Like, I try so hard to make them entertaining games, but the fact that I play a second string 11 just always makes it difficult to get any kind of exciting gameplay, if you know what I mean. But I've got a question for you guys at the start of this episode. What is your biggest win on FIFA 15 so far? It can be career mode or ultimate team. Career mode is preferable. I think my highest win on ultimate team is like 9-0, and my highest on career mode, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, what is yours? Ipswich coming close here, like a few times in this game. Paul Anderson had a shot there in the 67th minute, who I think he's a former Liverpool player. And then Jack Grealish picked up an injury in the 68th minute. But we came forward in the 90th minute with Berahino getting a chance. He still has yet to score in a Leicester City jersey, remember, which is a very alarming statistic. But we come up to the 109th minute. Yes, this game was still going on into extra time, and Danny Drinkwater comes forward. He's never going to miss from there. He makes it 1-0 to us in a really kind of just tense and cagey and scrappy game. Scrappy is a great word for it. This was a very, very scrappy game. But Ipswich put everything forward into their attack after going a goal behind, including their goalkeeper, who came up for a corner. And the corner kick taker probably had one job to do, which was keep it away from the fastest man on the pitch. But he passes it straight to Jeffrey Schlupp, who bears down on an empty goal with pretty much nobody willing to catch him. Schlupp fires it into the back of the net to make it 2-0. And I'd never scored a goal like that before on FIFA. I've never ever capitalised on a goalkeeper coming up from a corner until that moment, and that's why I took it as cautiously as I did. I could have gone for the very ambitious shot from distance, but I just didn't really feel up to it. Here's a look at the tournament tree as we escape with a victory. Man United, probably the best team left in the tournament on a quick glance there. I don't really see a bigger threat than them. And we find out that Jack Grealish is going to miss 8 weeks. So I guess he's probably got the injury prone trait, because he's always fucking injured. He's just back from injury as well. But our next game is away from home against Norwich, the other team that makes up the East Anglia derby. And Norwich's team is actually pretty decent, I thought. They've got Redmond, who should be really good, Van Volswinkel, who's one of the top goal scorers in the league, and Gary Hooper, who is the best striker in the history of the planet. Our team, we went for the 4-4-2 holding. I know it's only Norwich, but I just was a little bit fearful of them away from home, and it was in the rain as well. The rain looks so good on this game, like when it comes cascading down. But in the 6th minute, Zaha goes on a really good run, getting around 3 players in his wake, and has a look up, goes for the cross, but it's put wide by Mikel. Who I think is the former Arsenal player, is that correct, Mikel? But in the 8th minute then we got the corner kick. Mark Albrighton swings it in. John Stones goes up with the header, and it goes over the goalkeeper into the back of the net, and I think that's John Ruddy in goal, and I think he'd be very disappointed to concede John Stones' first goals in such ridiculous circumstances. But we come up to the 19th minute, and a Dwight Gale shot gets deflected wide by Besson, and it goes out for another corner, the second corner of the game, and this was the only action in the game so far. Mark Albrighton again to swing it in, and again John Stones gets the header, this time a much more powerful header and a much more convincing one, and a much more worthy header of beating a goalkeeper like John Ruddy. But that makes it 2-0 to us. Stones' first ever goals for Leicester, and we're 2-0 up just like that. And in the 26th minute, Redmond came forward for Norwich. He played it into Ajija Foe, who has a look up, and Stones with the back heel towards Simpson. It didn't work out in his favour. Redmond gets the ball, he goes for the shot, and the deflection takes it into the path of Johnny Howson, who ends up scoring for Norwich. And that was such a scrappy goal to concede. Like, I was really disappointed with that type of goal. But Norwich continued coming forward as a result of that, and I didn't really know how to react to this. Like, this was quite an interesting game, really, because I play my strongest football on the counter attack. But when I was 2-0 up, I didn't really feel like playing like that. I wanted to try and control the game and do a little bit more, but it didn't work out that way at all. Although we did get some counter attacking moments in the game, as you can see here in the 51st minute with Dwight Gale shooting towards the near post, but it was saved by the goalkeeper, and it goes out for a corner kick from which nothing obviously came. And then 5 minutes later, Norwich came forward again with Javier Garrido swinging the ball in towards Johnny Howson, but his header goes just wide. The reason I wasn't worried about Norwich scoring though, and the reason I wouldn't alter my game plan, was because they were taking shots like this from Hooper, which is obviously really bad, but not half as bad as this from Cameron Jerome. Look at that for a shot. It's amazing. I love it. But we come up to the 86th minute with Scott Sinclair on the ball, taking on Bassong, and getting round him pretty handily to get into the box and cross it into Jeffrey Schlupp, whose header unfortunately just went wide, and we were unable to capitalise on that counter-attack. But in the 95th minute, I was pretty much just holding the ball on the edge of their area and getting free kicks and holding on to possession, being a dick basically and time wasting. We did get a chance from Zaha in the 95th minute, but it went wide. And we end the game with a 2-1 victory over Norwich, which I think is a really good result again. I know they're not amazing or anything like that, but a win away from home just feels great regardless, and just building on this form is just amazing. But we see that David Nugent wants to leave the club, and to be honest, that's really fine with me. I'm not too bothered at all about that. I'm actually much more concerned about getting the most out of Berahino, because he hasn't scored yet. He's probably played about 12, maybe 13 games for us. He has been injured. He's had 2 different injuries since he's been at the club. But I really just would like to get him scoring. If you want to look at the squad report, by the way, it's on the screen right now. And there's not really much to say about it apart from Bellerin doesn't really look like he's improving at all. He doesn't really look like he's going up. He's still 61. We signed him over a year ago, or not over a year ago, but nearly a year ago, and that's really stupid to me that he's not advancing. I guess that's another thing about this game, is you're just going to have to continue loaning players out when their potential doesn't go up, or when their ratings don't go up, because EA didn't bother fixing their bug. Jack Grealish has -1. He's gone down. And that's because of all the injuries, I guess, but that's really annoying too. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to get a new striker in January and get rid of Nugent. I think if we could sell Albrighton and Nugent, I think we'd get really good money for both of them, perhaps 5 million combined. And then we could bring in maybe 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 good players with that money, because I think from the signings like Gary Gardner that I've made, it's pretty obvious that I know what it takes to improve the team in different areas for cheap. But Jeffrey Schlupp asked for a new contract, and I love him so much. He's he wants a new contract because he's on $4,000. He's playing amazingly, and he asks for $6,000. Yes, I can obviously do that. But our next game is at home against Cardiff City, who I always struggled against in FIFA 14. I wasn't too sure what to expect because they have a really good team, in all fairness. That midfield is great. Jones and Maynard, you would imagine, make up a really good FIFA strike force, like the type of guys who will punish you in a video game. But in the 17th minute, it was all Cardiff as the ball comes to Burgett, the former Celtic loanee, who strikes over from distance. But just a taste of what was to come as Noon comes forward. He plays it into Maynard, who got his shot off, and Schmeichel with the dramatic save before we ended up clearing it. Then we come up to just beyond the half-hour mark with the ball being played into Kenwyne Jones, who strikes from distance. It wasn't going to trouble the goalkeeper, but it's a good example of what they could do. And we come up to the just before half time as the ball was attempted to be crossed in by Bakayoko, and it goes out for a corner kick, which will be taken by Anthony Knockaert, who comes across. He swings it outwards with his left foot, and Gary Mackay-Steven gets in to get the header. And I've never actually scored from a corner with that type of header, and it's also been about 2 games since we scored a goal that wasn't from a corner because of that one as well. But that was quite an interesting corner goal, I thought, the way that it was worked. But we come up to the 45th minute inside stoppage time, and Kenwyne Jones' shot was on target, definitely going into the top of the net, but Kasper Schmeichel got the save, and a Cardiff City corner in the 51st minute produced a decent enough chance as Schmeichel manages to hold on to the ball easily from the corner. Berahino picks it up, and look at this for a ball. It's a ridiculous long ball that's controlled really well by Gale, who hits it on the volley and fires it into the back of the net for his 6th goal overall this season, making it 2-0 to us. And in all honesty, it had been all Cardiff up to this point, and I was quite worried that they would get an equaliser because I thought we could get a victory, and it was really good to double our lead. And then just beyond the hour mark, they came forward with Dikashwa getting a shot off on goal that was blocked by the defence. Then we came forward in this was around the 69th minute, I do believe, with Sinclair on the ball. He passes it to Anthony Knockaert, who looks up and goes for a kind of shot across the face of goal, which was saved by the keeper. And then Berahino's rebound was put wide, which sums up his shooting ability thus far in the series. But 2 minutes later, Berahino picks the ball up and plays it to Jeffrey Schlupp, who does well to hold on to it, and it falls to Matty James, who goes for the cross, but it doesn't really work at all. And then Matty James continues his run, gets the ball back and crosses it in for Berahino to get his first goal in a Leicester City jersey. Finally, it's happened. He's finally broken his duck. He's finally ended that ridiculous goal drought that has lasted since January of last season when we signed him. And we're 3-0 up at this point. Cardiff coming forward through Bent, but his shot goes way wide. And we come up to the 88th minute as we just kind of round off a nice passing move here with the ball coming to Bakayoko on the left-hand side of the pitch, who has the pace to get around pretty much any player in the league. I'm pretty sure he's the fastest defender in the league. But his cross finds Berahino, who doubles his tally for the season and his Leicester City career. He makes it 4-0 in the 90th minute, and because of that, we round off what was our biggest win so far on FIFA 15, which takes me back to the original question in the episode. What was yours as we come full circle at the end of this? But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying this series still. I'm really having a lot of fun now. Like, this form that we're encountering is so good, because I was so worried last season, like getting destroyed by teams on Legendary, and I was like, oh no, Legendary isn't for me. But we've done it. You know, we're doing pretty well in the league, and I reckon we can definitely get a top half finish this season. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying. If you are, leave a like, that would be awesome. I've been Eldeniro. Thanks for watching.